This is John Alkire. He is, let's see, in my mind, he's a legend, right? But
Right.
I swear.
Not in everybody's mind, but your
Well,
mind, that's a compliment.
somebody tells me the same thing. But anyways, John is a manager, or he manages events, or he did, man. He's retired now, but soon retired, right? You only retired what, a year ago, or
Year and a half.
year and a half ago?
Yeah.
So recent to retiring, but I've been following John for a long time, and the guy is just an amazing talent, an amazing leader, and a motivator, similar to Coach Prime, right? I mean, we talk about this, but I mean, I know you're probably not going to agree, but I'm telling you my perspective and what I've seen you do, and I think about it and I say, like Coach Prime is like, just the leadership is just, just like off the charts as how do you get it done? So what I really wanted to talk about, you, and what I really wanted to get on film was because you run different, you run a lot different, and I look at all the, I do events. Well, I've done events all over the country. I've dealt with all kinds of managers. I've been at it I know you've been at it a long time. I think I've been at it for like 35 years, right? Across the U.S. The leadership is, I say it all the time that it's just so freaking important.
But the bench is light.
It's very light. And so I wanted to hear from you, right? Like, and I want everybody to watch it, because your skill level in the leadership is just so far superior than what I see out there, right? And so I just have all these questions of like, first of all, how did you even get in this event business? And just run that down for me. You ended up retiring from the Big Fresno Fair in California. So I've known you through the Tulare Fair, and then I think it was Paso Robles Mid-State Fair.
No.
No?
I started out in 1984, and I started at the King's Fair in Hanford.
Oh, in Hanford.
I was there for 6 years.
Oh, okay.
That's where I got started.
Okay, but your dad was involved, right?
Yeah, well, my dad, when you talk about how did you get in the event business and everything, I can take a little bit of the credit, but the guy that built the foundation and got me going and motivated me in that direction and gave me hands-on learning experience was my dad. He was a CEO for 20 years at the Redwood Acres Fair up on the Oregon border.
Okay.
It's a town, Roger, that reminds you of Morro Bay.
Okay.
I know you spent a lot of time in Morro Bay. But I started with him, and when I was going to Cal Poly, I used to go up on my summers and attend his fair. He gave me a grocery cart with all the cleaning supplies, and at night I'd go around and clean the restrooms, and then the daytime I'd get to sit in on the board meetings. I'd get to go in on special meetings with maybe if there's a problem with the carnival or there's a concession operator that was upset. So I got to ride shotgun with him for a number of years, which really, really helped me. But the hands-on learning experience and seeing how to put things together, when to speak and when to keep your mouth shut, he taught me that. Maybe I didn't learn too much in that area, but he was really my godfather. He really got me going in the right direction, I think. So I can't take all the credit, but he called me because I was back working for the Angus Hall of Fame after I graduated from Cal Poly.
So was your dad into the agriculture? Because you've been in agriculture, animals, and that's a big part of you, right?
Yes.
You personally.
Yes.
So was he like that also? Or?
Oh yeah,
Okay.
yeah. He was into quarter horses, running quarter horses, performance horses, and then of course I got into the cattle and sheep and branched out a little bit. But he supported all those efforts, and I really appreciated that. But when I left Cal Poly, I had the chance of going in the private sector and working for the Angus Hall of Fame, which is a professional sales business that they exclusively sold Angus cattle only.
Okay.
And it was back in Smithville, Missouri. That's where our home base was. We averaged 2 sales a week in a different state. Every week, every month.
Okay.
So I was a day or two ahead of the crew. I'd go in and set everything up. There would be all kinds of problems, that you have to get ironed out. So when the bosses and the big folks come in to get ready for the sale, everything was ready to go. And then there was always a pre-sale party or an after-sale party, so you'd get involved in that as well. So it was like putting on a little mini fair, a mini event every week.
Mm-hmm.
And I did that for a couple of years. Then my dad called me and he said, "Are you through screwing around?" And I said, "Well, I'm having
ready to
fun."
get a job?
He said, "Do you enjoy living out of a suitcase?" I said, "Well, no, but I was making good money.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, good money." And that's the difference between the private sector, as you
Right,
know,
yeah.
and the state. You make a lot more money. So he said, "There's a perfect job for you, and you need to apply for it." And I said, "What's that?" He goes, "Well, the King's Fair, their manager and their board have separated."
Mm-hmm.
And he said, "It's a hostile work environment, but you need to apply for it and go for it." I said, "Why would I want to go into a hostile work environment? Why wouldn't I want to
Right.
go into like a mid-state fair and follow, be with Maynard Potter?" Because
Yeah,
he had everything done.
Yeah,
And-
right?
Yeah, he did. He had all the I's dotted and the T's crossed. So my dad says, "Think." He said, "If you go in and right the ship and fix a situation," he said, "you got board of directors won't even sit at the same table.
Mm-hmm.
2 of them are suing each other privately outside the fair over some other issue." But he said, "It's a hostile work environment." But he said, "If you go in there and smooth that thing out, you'll make a name for yourself and do something for yourself and not polish somebody else's apple."
Right.
So I applied for the job, and there was like 73 people that applied for it. And
Really?
yeah, and I
don't
got
think
it.
that shit happens today.
Well, I was going to mention that to you because, the bench is light.
Yeah.
And the bench is light in the executive branch, people that are qualified to be a CEO. And then there's even more lacking on the bench just for, the folks that are working the trenches and working in maintenance and things of that nature that have experience.
Mm-hmm. So 75 people, then you got the job.
Yeah, I got the job. So I was there for 6 years.
How'd that go? Did you write the script? Did you write
We write
the ship?
Yes.
That's hard to say.
We got the ship straightened out and going in the right direction. The directors were coming back and eating a dinner after the board meeting and having drinks, cocktails, and we got things smoothed out.
So tell me about that. How did you manage that? Right? Like, you got people that are upset at the table, and somehow you got to manage yourself around that. So
It was like sitting at the table with the Hatfields and the McCoys.
right. So
It was terrible.
What was? I'm sure. How old were you then?
How old was I then?
Yeah.
Oh, I was like 28.
Right. So fairly young, right?
Yeah.
So you don't have a lot of experience.
No.
But so how did you do that? I mean, how'd you get them to talk?
Well, first we had to break the ice, and they had to feel good about their confidence level in me because I was so young.
Mm-hmm.
So I met with all of them individually and basically rallied them to, "Hey, I need your help. I need your support. I want to take this fair to the next level, but I need your help. And we're not going to get there unless all of us are in the same boat and we're rowing together. You can't have..."
So did you find that they all wanted the same kind of thing, or
Oh, no.
they just hated each other?
They just hated each other, a couple of them.
Yeah.
A couple of them. And it's too bad because, a number of those directors were just salt of the earth, great, good people.
Mm-hmm.
But there was just a couple oddballs that were difficult to work with.
Yeah.
And they just came to the meeting with, fire in their eyes, and they were looking for anything to vote no on.
Right.
So we got that turned around, smoothed out. We started having dinners after the board meeting and a little cocktail party after that, and things kind of smoothed out, and the lawsuits went away. But it was tough.
One more question.
Yes, sir.
So you have people that you really respect, salt of the earth, all that.
Yes.
Then you have few difficult people.
Mm-hmm.
So what did it take to get those 2 or 3 or whatever amount of people? What did it take to get them on your side?
Communication and one-on-one.
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 That means you had to spend your time, hey, let's go to dinner. I'm going to meet with you,
Yeah.
whatever. So at 28, you weren't afraid to make that happen.
No.
Yeah, because
No.
that's such a, dude, what you're saying is so important, right? Because, a lot of times people get afraid. They get afraid. Oh my God, this person hates me, or whatever. But somehow we got to keep moving the ball forward.
Yeah, and most importantly, what I've seen with other directors, they're worried about their job. The CEOs are worried about their job.
Absolutely.
I piss this guy off, then I'm going to lose him as a vote or her, whatever it might be.
Politics.
But in my opinion, the politics is probably one of the weakest parts of the industry, in my opinion.
Yeah.
Because these folks are government appointed, and they should be locally appointed, I think. Who better knows what you need for your community than your community?
Right.
It's pretty hard for somebody in Sacramento that maybe never ever visits your county because it's too small and maybe not that important to a lot of people. And then basically, most of the appointments, as you've seen it, are appointments for favors. Someone did some favor for somebody in the party in that area, so this is kind of like a gimme.
Now, you talking management or board of
Directors.
Board of directors.
Directors.
Right. And are the directors a good thing or a bad thing in the fair industry, in your opinion?
I think if you get the right set of directors, and I've been blessed to have had a couple of good sets of directors where all of them were in the boat, and all of them were going in the right direction, you can do magical things. Great things can happen. But if you've got, out of 9 directors, if you've got 6 over here and 3 over here, 5 over here and 4 over here on every issue, you're just going to be chasing your tail, and you're not going to get a lot of positive things done, in my opinion.
Yeah, that's politics, right?
Right.
Okay,
politics.
so you were in Hanford, and then what?
Well, I was there for 6 years, and we did a lot of great things in Hanford. The biggest thing at the King's Fair is sand drag racing, and
that's still there today,
racing,
right?
Sprint car racing.
That's still there today.
Yeah. And we had just started the track up. Mike got it started, and then we really got it rolling. And of course, everybody said, no way you'll ever get the World of Outlaws, which is the biggest touring sprint car racing group in the world. And that was my focus from right off the bat. I thought, we got to get them to Hanford. We get them to Hanford, it's big time.
Yeah.
So everybody told me, you're barking up the wrong tree, you aren't going to get it done. Well, it took me 2 years, and we got them there. And everybody says, well, how'd you do it?
Okay.
I said, $100,000.
So did Hanford have the track? I can't remember. Or did you build the track?
It was built the year before I came.
Okay.
But the groundwork of getting the community behind it, and getting the sponsorships and everything, that was a big undertaking.
Yeah.
And Mike had just started that. Mike Kenny, who was the CEO prior to me.
Okay. All right. So you got all that done, and that was good. That was probably a big deal. But again, you're taking. Okay, let me ask you this. You got a fairgrounds. You're in charge. You're 28 years old, 29, whatever the case may be. Now you come up with the thought of getting the Outlaws, correct? Or did the Outlaws approach you, or somebody said, hey, how does that all work?
Well, we had a racing committee, and you have committees. I think you form committees to where you're weak. And I wasn't big into racing.
Yeah.
Horse racing, horses, but not car racing.
Right.
So I had this race committee, and they came to me and they said, hey, we need to make some inroads here. We need to make some invites to try to get the World of Outlaws here, because we'll pack the place, we'll make money, it'll make the place more credible, and you need to get this done. So I had the guy's number, and I called him, and I kept calling him, and I flew out 2 or 3 times to see him at other tracks that he put on different races at, so he could see that I was serious. And I said, I got to get you to come to Hanford. And Hanford, it's not a destination place.
You sure?
It
I've been there.
It has superior dairy, and the Dynasty Restaurant, you know, and a couple of things like that. But Harris Ranch is way out beyond there.
Nobody even knows where Hanford is.
Yeah.
Kind of.
So it's a destination place.
Yeah.
So when you're out trying to hustle a world famous kind of a car racing group like the World of Outlaws, you got to sell the San Joaquin Valley, agriculture, and all that along with it. And so we got that done.
But here's what I want everybody to know on this. This is what I want you to know, Chad. So you're 28, 29, maybe 30 at this point, right? Somebody gives you an idea, and you go and attack it, right?
Oh, yeah.
You're not saying, "Wow, you know, man, I wish we would love to get the Outlaws here," and then that's it. No, dude, what you just told me is you're calling, you're persistent, you fly out there, you're selling yourself.
Yeah.
Now, maybe this is going on out there in the world, but I just don't see it. So, I see that basically what we're doing is we're taking what we get, proposed to us, and then we're deciding on that.
By people that you trust.
Probably.
My race committee, I trusted them to point me in the right direction. Mm-hmm. They could have said, go get NASCAR in here and run their dirt series, and that would have been disastrous.
Right.
But the World of Outlaws set us on the map.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, but only because of your persistence. True or not?
We work hard.
Yeah.
And we don't give up.
Yeah.
150%.
That's what I'm saying, right? So, like, I met with a guy yesterday, and I said, he asked me to come meet with him, and I'm like, I roll in there, I'm like, dude, why are you not trying to be great? Like, I'm rolling in here trying to be great. I don't know what I'm gonna be great at. Yeah. But I'm trying to be great. But anyways, okay, back to you. That's what I see. That's what I see in you. And that's why I'm so grateful that you're here talking to me.
Well,
because,
thank you for the opportunity.
I mean, you're doing that shit at 28, 29, 30. Yeah. So now let's continue on to the next place.
You want to hear a great race story?
Yeah.
My racing director comes to me one day and he goes, I need your help on this. I said, what? He said, we've got maybe the greatest driver that's coming up through the ranks. And we've got a chance to get him here in a sprint car. He's never been in a sprint car. And I've got a car donated we can cut the seat down and make him fit. I said, well, how old is he? He goes, 13. I go, 13?
Really?
Don't you have to be 16 or 18? And you got to have a driver's license to get on the goddamn track. And he goes, no. But we need you to go to Sacramento. We need you to battle for us. And what do we have to do to jump the hoops to get this kid here? So long story short, I go to Sacramento, and I go to the Attorney General's office, and I jump all the hoops. Long story short, I had to get a waiver signed by every race car driver there that night. They had to sign, or he couldn't go on the track.
Right.
So he told me the kid's name. I didn't remember it. I was just focused on let's get this done because he said we'll pack the place. This guy has won 3 or 4 national go-kart championships, little go-karts, and then we're going to put him in a 1,200 horsepower sprint car, and he's never been in it, never. So I said, well, okay. So I took their word. So we went balls out and got it done. And I went through the pit that night, got everybody to sign before we went out for the hot laps. The kid goes out there in the hot laps. They put him at the very back because he's a rookie, never been in the car. You could barely see over the steering wheel.
Yeah.
And he's hot lapping with, the best of them. Makes it in to the first heat, and he's second in that. They put him into the main event. They put him at the back. He works his way all the way to the 6th place by the end of the night. You knew who that little guy was?
No.
Jeff Gordon.
Really?
Yeah. He wasn't this high, and he weighed about 82 pounds. But
he had a gift already.
But my point is that if you surround yourself with good people, and I've told you this before, if you surround yourself with good people, good things will happen all the time. And just so happens I had a race crew that they were right on top of it. They knew exactly, who to ask, or who to invite, who to go after.
Dude, but I just heard...
And then you got to go get it.
I just heard what you said.
Yeah.
Okay? And you have told me that over the years. But I think you're underestimating yourself. I think you're underestimating yourself because, I'm going to tell you, it takes one guy to make all that shit happen. Only one. And here's why I think that. Everybody else has given you ideas, opinions, and this, that, and the other. But without that one guy making shit happen, I don't think it happens. I think it, you know, so...
I see where you're coming from, and I appreciate the nice compliments.
No, I know, but
let me
am I
explain.
right?
Yeah,
Am I right?
Yeah, you're right. To a point.
Because I'm confused.
But let me explain something to you. The best people that I've been able to hire in the last 40 years of doing this business were right out of Cal Poly and right out of Fresno State. And we trained them.
Mm-hmm.
They didn't walk in off the street. They didn't walk in from another fair.
Mm-hmm.
We trained them. And when you go after people like that, you can't be afraid to hire people that you think might be better than you. Because I think that only pushes you to be better.
Boy, absolutely.
And in surrounding yourself with great people, they can cover the bases that you wouldn't have to stay there and maybe take care of a meeting or go to give a speech at a local club or something like that. When you go to Sacramento or fly here to make something happen that's going to be bigger and better and take us to the next level. Without those people, if I had to do it all myself, I'm just a good coach. I think I'm a good coach. I just get a lot of good quarterbacks and running backs and a tremendous amount of blockers with your maintenance crew. A lot of people don't give the maintenance crews enough.
We'll get back to that. I got some opinions on that. But let's continue on with your journey. So you went from Hanford.
So I was at Tulare from Kings. I was there for 6 years. Tulare, I was there for 7.5. And did a lot of great things there. We started the racetrack there thanks to the Faria family, because Kings Speedway went so well. They started the track, and then there was competition and all that good stuff.
So you were in Tulare. This was about the time that I started dealing with you. Well, I wasn't even dealing with you. We didn't even know each other, but I was a part of your events, right?
Right.
And so I just know when I rolled onto one of your events, it was different, right? It felt like, damn, there's some energy here.
Yeah.
We're
doing it different.
There's something that's gonna happen here.
We're doing it different.
Yeah, you're doing it different. We'll both agree on that, right? You're doing it different.
Much different.
So now you're in Tulare. Now, if I can remember right, the Tulare County Fair, it was just a thing. I mean, it was a fair, but it's kind of like the fairs I'm seeing today, where it's just an event, an annual event. There's no real...
Nothing changes.
Nothing really changes. There's nothing special about it. But
right.
So when you went there, what did you... Because when I got there, I feel a difference. I feel this energy.
Right.
This energy behind this event. The community's behind it. People have their windows painted. It's an all-in deal, right or wrong?
It was, and we did a lot of murals. We built some barns there. We put some waterfalls in. Just did things different.
So
planted a lot of trees.
So what did you do different? Like, so you end up here, right? Same thing like you did with Hanford. You come there, you get this whole speedway thing going, and the world of outlaws, and you just got this energy going, right?
Right.
And then from that energy, the Tulare now thing comes out about, they're doing good with it, so we're gonna, this whole energy. Now you're creating contacts, just like your dad said. You're making a name for yourself. This guy can get shit done, whatever the case may be. But how did you change the energy of Tulare?
With partnerships, everything evolves around, to me, talk is cheap. Everybody's got the talk, but a lot of people can't back it up. I bring a concept drawing to you one year, you being a concessionaire, and say, hey, Roger, I think right over here, see this drawing, this is where eventually we want to go with this. And then next year you pull your concession trailer in there and you look over there, holy shit, that what was on that drawing is there. You say to you in your mind, talk wasn't cheap with that guy. He got it done.
Mm-hmm.
So then when I come to you this year and say, "Did you see what we got done?" As I did to you, I said, "This is what I'd like to do this year over here. Could you help us?"
Mm-hmm.
And you always did.
Mm-hmm.
And you just take that and you just multiply that throughout the community.
Okay. So
and things just happen.
So you took over Tulare from another manager. The fair's been there for how long? 50
Tulare,
years.
probably 60, 70
60
years. Yeah.
So why wasn't the other guy doing any of that? The ex-manager.
I think that she came in and she did a lot of changes with paint and things of that nature.
Mm-hmm.
And I think she tried real hard. That's all I can say. But the troops rallied a little stronger around our administration and supported us a lot stronger, and we got a lot more done. You know, the proof's in the pudding. I can sit here and brag about a lot of stuff, but
I know,
I feel better just to flip over and say, well, look at the pictures of this event. Look at the pictures of
No,
of this
dude,
deal.
you ain't telling me nothing I don't know. I know you're a legend.
I don't.
Right?
We don't need to go there.
Yeah, I know, because you don't like that, and if you said that shit about me, I would say the same thing. But I know what you're doing. Like I know the impact you're having, right? And so I'm trying to get it out of you what the real deal is, because talk is cheap.
Yes.
We aren't sitting here trying to sell nothing.
Right.
Right? I'm trying to sit here and say, this guy is the man. He's the guy that is getting shit done in the world. Why aren't there more of you out there? That's what this whole thing is about. That's why I called you. So
I'm at Tulare,
Yeah.
and I want to take the entertainment level up
Yep.
because these little B and C acts.
Okay. Why do you want to take the entertainment level up?
Because I had visited the Mid-State Fair and I'd seen what happens when you take things to the next level and you do things right.
Mm-hmm.
Because in my opinion, Maynard Potter was that guy.
He was that guy.
He was that guy.
He's still that guy today.
Absolutely. God rest his soul.
Yeah.
So I called him and I went over and I introduced myself and this and that and the other, and I had met him before,
Mm-hmm.
back in 1984 when I went to my first convention. Maynard Potter got the best CEO large fair award.
And he wasn't even a large fair.
I know.
Yeah.
But my dad was a small fair,
Mhm.
and he got the best small fair CEO award.
Nice.
So they were both up on stage, and that's when I met Maynard.
Right.
So after that, I called him, and I said, "Hey, I'm over here at Tulare. Can I come over and just talk to you?"
Mm-hmm.
I did that. He was very, very receptive, very open. Everyone told me, he's a no good son of a bitch. Don't go talk to him. He's
I
an
hear
asshole.
that shit about you.
Yeah, well, that's okay. That's probably true.
And you probably hear it about me, right?
Yeah, it's all right. So I went over there, and he was so helpful. And I said, I'd like to take my entertainment to the next level. I can't afford, I don't have the venue that you have, but I want to start notching it up.
Mm-hmm.
And I said, how do I do that the best way that you know how? And I had a couple of entertainment agencies representing me at the King's Fair because I didn't know anything.
Mm-hmm.
And at Tulare, it got a little better. But he told me, he said, well, the best guy in the business is working for me. And I said, well, will he take a new client with your permission?
Yeah.
And I asked him that.
Yeah.
I said, with your permission? He goes, well, with my permission, sure. So he calls RJ.
Right.
So he calls RJ, and we get introduced, and that's how the entertainment started. Because we took big name entertainment into Tulare there for about.
I know.
There was about. I was there for 7 years. For 6 years, we stepped it up way big time. And a couple of the acts that I had were the same acts that they had at Mid-State, but he drew the line, and he knew how to draw the line on the radius clause and the whole deal. When we were making offers, what was it? It was Santana. Santana was booked over at Midstate, so I wanted Santana because the Hispanic influence in the valley is a lot greater than the coast.
Mm-hmm.
And I said, I'd love to get him. He says, well, you can get him. You can't put your tickets on sale until the day after my concert is over with him.
Mm. That's cool.
And you can't announce it.
Yeah.
So that's the way we went.
Yeah.
And that's the way we
So-
ran for 5 years.
Okay, so let's just back up, right? So, first of all, why did you want to bring in big name entertainment? I mean, what was the goal? It's expensive, right?
Oh, and
everybody will give you every reason of why you can't do it.
And it's a huge gamble.
Yeah.
The risk.
So why did you want to gamble? Like what was it?
No risk, no reward. And I saw how it was working in Paso.
Mm-hmm.
I thought, if he can do this, I can do this.
Mm-hmm.
But, the ambiance, the location, and everything of Paso is so much greater than Tulare. I mean, again, we're not a destination place. Hanford
Right.
was not a destination place.
I don't know if Paso was back in the day either.
Well, boy, it sure is now.
No,
and it
now
was.
shit.
It has been for
Yeah.
a couple of decades. But anyway, he was very helpful. And I got to the point where I called him my second year, after we had so much success the first year. I said, I need about 3,000 chairs. Because I knew he had them.
Mm-hmm.
He put those chairs on the whole goddamn floor.
Mm-hmm.
And he goes, and I couldn't rent them. I couldn't afford it. So I said, Maynard, could I rent those chairs? He said, if you come get them and you bring them back, and if you replace any of them, you just do that. No problem. So he helped me out.
Yeah.
And he helped me
I
out.
had
with
no
RJ.
idea that Maynard was helping you on that entertainment
Yes.
aspect, because that's huge.
Yeah. And nobody else, you go to the convention and people wouldn't even talk to him. They didn't even respect him.
They're scared of him. They hated him.
Well,
they
there's
still hate him today.
Well, there's a lot of people just like me. No, I'm
And
serious. But the proof's in the pudding.
Dude, I had the fortunate, I was fortunate to grow up in Paso Robles. So that whole history.
Who started you?
Yeah, I mean, when I was 6 years old, we're going to the fair. I had no idea, like at that time, what I was seeing. Right?
Yeah.
But as I got into it, I'm talking, when I was 18, 19, I started working at the fair. Everybody worked at the fair. If you were in Paso Robles,
Sure.
right? Like
Sure.
it was super small at that point. And man, I probably had 10 minutes of conversation with Maynard Potter. 10 minutes. But he educated me for a lifetime just by me watching him.
He was a visionary.
He was unbelievable in the matter of, and I see where you've adopted some of his traits, right? He built a great team. He had people that would jump. And I'm not talking about jump. I'm talking we're going to go on the top of the building and jump off. They would go, okay, what time you want us to be there?
Yeah, how big a ladder we need?
Right, exactly. And pretty special guy.
So
that gets no recognition.
No. Since we're being honest,
thank God we're going to start being honest.
Yeah, we're going to be honest. When he passed away, my heart was broken. And I said, I called Sacramento and I called a couple of friends up there and I said, let's start a scholarship fund for and give it an annual award, a visionary award, and make it the Maynard Potter Award.
Wouldn't even consider it.
No. And I got one donation from one concessionaire.
Really?
It was heartbreaking. But that's how bad it was.
So I'll tell you how deep on my experience this guy went, right? This manager, this guy that created the biggest little fair anywhere, right? That was his deal.
Absolutely.
And with no hesitation to tell you how great they were. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. There's no he would get on the news and tell you, right? Like how great this thing is. And his leadership was so deep. And you know this, his staff was there until almost retirement. That's how big of an impact he had on his entire team.
Absolutely.
Right? I think Waldo retired from there. I know Vivian was there for a long time and then became manager. I mean, didn't she start working there when she was in high school?
Yes.
You know, and all the way through every job and then management for years. And there was many of those people that he touched, including you, that I didn't even know about.
Oh, yeah.
I know you were watching him, right? Me too.
Yeah.
Me too. That guy used to get, you know, when you walked onto his fairgrounds, I mean, it was immaculate, right? Everything, the asphalt was sealed, the flowers were perfect, you know, and I'll never forget me. I had this little stupid lemonade stand. I was all of about 19 or 20. I didn't know anything, right? Him himself would, you know, I think we spotted it with a forklift, and he would get down on his knee, right, and he would look at that shit. He'd be like, "Go back a little bit, go." That's how detailed this guy was. All his chairs in the grandstand. But, anyways, I know I got off on a side.
Well, let me progress into how it got deeper with him. So he and his board had a big problem, and I was amazed. You know, he left. Yeah,
it was a sad day.
But
I'm not sure. You know, I don't actually know what happened, but I know there was some internal things.
So, my dad, who was retired up in Oregon, the Division of Fairs and Exposition called him and said, "Hey, we got a big job for you. You've got to come out of retirement. I want you to go to Paso Robles, be the interim manager.
That's right. I do remember that.
Get us through the fair, get us through the selection process for our new CEO, and then you can go home." So my dad ended up being there. He stayed at the Paso Robles Inn for 8 months.
Oh, really?
I mean, it was a long gig.
Yeah.
And then 2 years after that, the same thing happened in Santa Maria, and they sent him to Santa Maria, and he was down there, I think, for about 6 or 7. But anyway, my dad calls me when he's the interim CEO of Paso Robles. He goes, "So, how's it going?" I said, "Oh, good. How are you doing?" He goes, "Oh, I'm getting settled in over here and everything." He said, I was looking on the notes here that you borrow 3,000 chairs from us every year." And I said, "Yes, sir, I do. Can I be sure that I have that this year?" And he goes, "No fucking way." And I go, "What?" He goes,
Really?
"No." He said, "If you want to come over and work this fair for the 2 weeks, and you could stay with me," because he had the suite at the Paso Robles. Had 3 big beds in it and everything. He said, "You can have the chairs, but unless you come over and work for me, you can't have them." So
that's an interesting.
So I went to my board and I said, "This is the deal," and they said, "Fine."
Really?
So I go over there, and I get there, and he goes, "Okay, number one, I don't care for RJ, the entertainment director, and you work with him at your fair." And I go, "Yeah." He says, "So that's your responsibility." He said, "I don't like Butler Amusements. I'm a Butler man." You know, he and Butch Butler were just like that. And he said, "So you're going to handle the carnival backstage." And he said, "Anything that goes on backstage, you know, riders and all that," he said, "you're in charge of all that." And I said, "What the hell are you going to do?" Right. So I'm going to walk around, make sure everybody, you know, okay.
Everybody's happy.
So I had to get those chairs. So I went over and got those chairs. So I spent 2 weeks there. And I got to know all the board of directors. So then Ella Mae Butterfield, who was president of the board at that time, she comes up to me and she goes, "When we go out for CEO, you've got to apply because we like what we see here." And I told her, I said, "My kids are right in the middle of high school. This is not a good time for me. After they get out, I'm not going to uproot them, and I'm not going to split our family." So I said, "I can't do it. But maybe we'll see how things go." Because my dad told me, he said, "Oh, don't listen to her. You don't want to come over here now. Your kids need to get through school. Once they get through school," he said, "this job will be available." And I said, "What makes you think that?" He goes, "Whoever follows Maynard is going to be a failure."
Really?
He said, "You watch." So 4 years later, that CEO left, and I put my name in and got it.
Who was the CEO? I'm trying to remember.
Judy King.
Oh, Judy King, that's right.
She was definitely
Randy was in there for a minute.
Yeah.
But was he after Judy?
Well, my dad wanted Randy.
Yeah.
Because by far he'd have been the best, even over me at that time, because he knows He knew that fair inside and out.
Yeah.
Did all the sponsorships. And you talk about a promoter. That is the number one guy, Randy.
Yeah.
I mean, look what he's done with the PBR. Look what he did with the race cars and all that. So, and now he's with Garth Brooks.
Yeah.
So, so 4 years later, the job came up, and I applied, went over there, and I stayed there for 9 years. And the only reason that I left Paso Robles was that all my grandkids and children live in Tulare County. I wasn't getting to babysit. I wasn't getting to go to soccer games, football games, swimming meets, none of that. So I told my wife, I said, hey, I love it here, and I would still be there if I didn't have my children.
Yeah.
I said, if anything comes up in the valley, we're gonna look at it. And Fresno came up within 9 months, and I put in for that. And got
Nice. Okay, so let's talk about back to Tulare.
Yeah.
I'm still struggling with, here was a manager that didn't have big name entertainment. You came in, you fought for big name entertainment, which was risky, right? But how do you sell that? Because you got a board of directors, you got a budget, you got all this bullshit. How do you get past all that?
You've got to line the troops up, and that means...
Who are the troops?
Well,
I mean, what if I just say, we don't have the money?
Well, the troops on one side of your board, you've got to have them in the same boat and
But
supporting
how
what
do you
you're
get
doing.
more
But
money?
then you go to the community, and one of my biggest sponsors at that time that made it happen was K-Jug Radio. The deal we put together is, yeah, we'll do all these extra promotions for you, we'll do this, we'll do that, but we want to have a sponsorship party backstage every night.
Yeah, that's
Well, I didn't
big.
want that, but
No, but that's big for them.
it was great for them, and I was able to get what I wanted for the fair.
So
they made that happen, and then they
okay,
went out
so
and got a lot
in
of
order
other people.
for you to get the big name entertainment, you probably have to come up with more money, right?
Yes,
First of all, you had to find the connections,
yes.
which was RJ.
We did that.
Okay, that was help with Maynard through RJ. Okay, you did that, but now it's like, well, shit, we don't have the money, and it's a lot of money. You know, it's not $10,000, right? I
No.
mean, it's
That was a couple $100,000.
right. And so now you got to figure out, okay, how much am I going to sell these seats for, and all that kind of stuff. So, and you know you're going to sell some seats. Did it work out profitable? I'm talking Tulare.
Yes.
Was each concert profitable?
No,
No.
no. It's like the concerts, and I tried to explain this to the media.
Mm-hmm.
A fair is like a baseball game. Every night you have innings,
Right.
and some of those innings you might hit a home run. Some you may not score at all.
Uh-huh.
So some nights are going to be duds.
So what you do is you take, okay, let's say we got, how much would for a 5-day event, what's a good entertainment budget? Good, that you're going to get high name entertainment.
And back then was like 800,000 to $1 million.
Okay, 800,000 to $1 million.
Yes.
Okay, you know you're going to sell some seats.
Yes.
So do you put it all together and I say, okay, I've spent $1 million. So if I do $1.1 million, I'm good. Or do you say, this guy I spent 500, I got to do 600,000. This guy I spent this, he's got to do 50,000. This guy, or is it all combined?
It's 9 innings
Yeah, that's what I was thinking.
or 9 days, whatever.
Because
you
see,
want to
the
talk
normal
about.
people, we don't know this shit. We just say, why are they getting such lame ass entertainment?
Yeah.
I never can figure it out.
Entertainment, as you know, Roger, is really risky business.
But it's real. Isn't it risky to not have it too?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, there's pros and cons.
Yeah.
If you go the free C or B acts, but C and D acts and free entertainment stages, it's easier. It takes less people to put out there to as far as production or seating people and stuff like that. You don't have to worry about a ticketing company. You don't have the backstage riders that you do on the big name stuff, and your profit is much narrower.
So why do it?
Well,
Why do big name?
Because that's the only thing that's going to give you a chance to get shot in the ass and go and get to the next level. And that's the way I looked at it. And like I said, after seeing what Maynard was doing, I thought I can do that on a smaller scale. But I was gambling.
So was it for John Alkire to increase his value, or was it to increase the value of the Tulare County Fair? Was it for the community? What was your thought process?
It was for the Tulare County Fair. That's who I work for.
Okay.
And it was for the community as a whole to be proud of. So many people came to me my first year in Tulare and said, God, it would be nice if we had big name entertainment here. We have to drive to the coast all the time to see those acts over there because they're so good. Mm-hmm. Why can't we do something local? Well, we just did half those acts that they did in Paso, and some of them were exactly the same.
Mm-hmm.
Exactly
So
the same.
you just
Thanks
said-
to Maynard. But it was a gamble because he wouldn't let me go out. You know, he'd go out with tickets like for Christmas presents.
Yeah.
And there'd be people lined up all the way, you know, to where Bubba's is now.
So if you were able to do that with Paso and Tulare, and I know Bakersfield kind of played with that a little bit.
Yeah, but they didn't do it right.
They didn't go all
They
in,
didn't do
right?
it right. No.
I wonder how come, and I think this about the whole fair industry, why they don't partner together a little better, like advertising, you know, entertainment, like kind of work together. Like you went to Maynard and you said,
Yeah.
but Maynard was like an island, right? I mean, you honestly, probably you were the only guy that had the guts to go approach him and go, hey, this is what I want to do. Everybody else, I bet you 99% of the people were afraid of him.
And they didn't like him.
Well, that's what I'm saying. Like, they either thought he was an asshole or, you know, he's unapproachable or, you know, whatever. You probably have that. You may not know it, but, you know.
No.
You know,
I understand it too.
Yeah,
And I understand why.
Yeah.
Because, you know, if you're on top, everybody's throwing rocks at you. If you're at the bottom, they don't give a shit.
Yeah.
Maynard was special. Maynard was unique, and I learned a lot from him, and I owe him a lot, along with my dad, to get to where I eventually ended up. But, you know, entertainment is risky. And if you do get the entertainment that you need, and it makes your fair look better, and it makes your community feel better, and you get that support dollars behind you, then ultimately it'll make you look better.
Well, yeah.
But the goal isn't to go in and say, you know, what can we make John look
yeah,
like today?
I see that as like also another big challenge where some communities, I'm going to say a lot of communities, their community is not, they're not all in on their fair.
No.
I even see that in Paso. But I say myself, in Paso Robles, it's strictly a management problem. Because they haven't sold it on the community. They're just operating an event. Now, that's a big comment. And it's an uncomfortable comment for a manager to hear it, right? Like, because everybody's going to tell you how hard they're working, right? And, oh my God, I'm doing this and I'm so busy. But the reality is, if I'm not mistaken, I'm sitting with the only guy that's been able to make that happen, besides Maynard. Like, we can talk about Paso, and I know you went into Paso. You went from Tulare. I saw you do it in Tulare. Okay, you took mediocre, right? Mm-hmm. You came in there. You created a team, right?
Good team.
Good team.
Good team.
Okay, you created the team. You might even had employees that were there before, but now you're the leader, right? So now you create the synergy and you pull off some big stuff for the community. Now the community's all in, right? So at some point, John leaves.
John leaves.
Is the team still there?
Yes.
Back in Tulare.
Except one that came with me.
Okay. So the team's still there, right?
Yeah. Went down
How'd it go?
the road. Went back to the same way it was.
Right.
Because no one wanted to take the chance.
This is why I say
no one wanted to take the chance.
Nobody wants to risk. Nobody wants to think outside the box. Nobody wants to. Why is that? This is my big question. Like, I know we're going around and around and all this stuff, but I cannot figure out why people aren't, especially in this this fair industry, why we're not striving for greatness. And what I mean by the greatness is, forget about the entertainment. If you can get away with be entertainment, but what about your community, right? Where do you stand in that? How does it, Paso, dude, Paso was, I don't know, maybe it was known throughout the United States. Paso Robles Mid-State Fair, biggest little fair anywhere. And what I learned the most was how much the community was behind it. You know, all them ranchers, and you know them all. I don't really know that many people, and so that all came from leadership. You take the one guy out, and your dad even said it. He says, oh, anybody that follows Maynard is going to fail.
Yeah. Because
Maynard had it so far up here. Now, I don't know if that's a true statement, but it's going to be tough. It's going to take a real leader.
Okay,
right?
well, let me tell you what is a bigger challenge.
Go ahead.
And I know you like going in this direction. When I got to Paso, and it had gone this way just a little bit, so we had a chance to bring it back up. But infrastructure-wise, and the facility, and the image, and the community relationships, that's where I wanted to focus on. And when you come in and you're eventually following Maynard, that has ideal location, the way he laid the place out, the way it looked, the aesthetics, the ambiance, the feel, the smell of that place is just unbelievable.
But he did all that.
Yeah. So then I say to myself, how do I take it to the next level?
Yeah.
So what we did, we worked the community very heavily. George Hurst, it was one of my closest and dearest friends. His sister, Phoebe Cook, Jack and Phoebe Cook, they were in support of us. Those two families alone, along with Pete Clark and Jan Davis, Mark Borhone, and those kind of folks, all got together, and we built the first skybox to ever go on any fairgrounds, with a concession stand underneath that goes both ways. Mm-hmm. We put in 3 covered arenas because of the equestrian love in that area.
Right.
And Paso Robles or San Luis Obispo County is the largest cattlemen's association in the state of California. I don't know if you knew that or not. They're huge. These are cowboys. That's why you can get away with 4 or 5 nights of entertainment, country western entertainment at the Mid-State Fair. Mm-hmm. You couldn't get away with that at Fresno. You might get it third night at Tulare, but that's dyed wool country. So we went up with the infrastructure, did the covered arenas, which took us up another level, I think. We bought that parking lot that Maynard had been trying to buy for years, set up the preliminary discussions on the museum property and all that property for parking and all that. And I think that they got all that bought after I left, obviously. And then they built another skybox to match the one that we built. So things have just kept going up, and then George stepped up and helped them with that winery area that's down at the end of the Midway. So we were able to take it to even the next level because we kept the entertainment. RJ was there, so we maintained all that. And in Paso, you've got to. They expect it.
Oh, yeah.
They expect it. That they are spoiled. Mm-hmm. And you've got to come across with that. A lot of people, when I went to Fresno, they said, oh my gosh, we got the Mid-State Fair CEO coming here. We're going to start having all that entertainment here. And I put that fire out real quick. I said, no. Fresno is different than Mid-State Fair. Fresno is Fresno. Fresno, 25 to 27% of the whole population of Fresno County is at poverty or below. Mm-hmm. That's not the case over there in Paso Robles. It's just the opposite. Mm-hmm. Over there, we took that thing to 17,600 and however many seats. Fresno has 5,000 seats. Our deal is horse racing. We go in the grandstand where you can put 11,000 people there. Mm-hmm. And you've got the convention, you've got the Save Mart Center right down the street. There's no use in going in competition with them. Do the B, some of the A- acts, B+ acts, and sell your deal. They were giving a lot of the entertainment away when I got there. We went to all paid gate. up the entertainment a little bit, but we weren't going to go head to head with the Save Mart Center or Paso Robles. Couldn't do it. Didn't have the seats.
Yeah,
Didn't have the seats.
Didn't make it financial.
Yeah.
But okay,
You got to recognize what community you're in, what they need, what they want, and who they
dude,
are.
Okay, but you did the same shit in Fresno. And I'm gonna give you I'm gonna give you my example. Okay? Fresno, I don't even know who the CEO was. Honestly, I don't even know who the CEO was before you. Because I dealt with the concession manager.
Scott Anderson.
But honestly, I don't even think I ever met Scott. Wouldn't know him if I saw him. But I dealt with Rita over there. Remember Rita?
Yeah.
The concession manager. So she was great. So, you go from Tulare, you go to Paso. You do all these things. You rally the community, right?
Absolutely.
Because they were a little on the fence. Maynard had left, a few other managers, different styles of managers, kind of, I'll say for lack of a better word, protection mode, more politicians kind of thing, maybe. I don't know. I don't really know the insides of it. So now you come in, and back to my saying, it takes one guy. One guy. Because you're only one guy. You're replacing another manager. Just like you did in Tulare, just like you did in Hanford. Now you're in Paso. So you're replacing. And you were able to accomplish all of these things. You just mentioned it. Skybox, concession stand, more covered arenas, and all that BS.
Right.
Plus,
Bought some property.
you took that south side, you built that fort looking thing, and all of this stuff and whatever. And I know we were a part of that whole thing, and that was awesome. So now you leave and you go to Fresno, right?
Right.
Now, again, the manager over there, he was probably, if I had a conversation with him, he's gonna tell me, how hard he's working and everything he's doing, and he's reaching out, but he's just not getting the damn job done. I'm talking on a legendary standpoint, right? Yes, I know they're operating. They have people coming to the gate. I know nothing about the Fresno Fair besides what I do as far as like entertainment counts, gate counts. I don't know if we're doing better, worse. Nobody shares that information. But from the outsider, from me, being a vendor, being a concessionaire, I say, still, you came in there and you took something completely different, right? Mm-hmm. Now you're not so much focused on entertainment that you had learned all about. I mean, you still got it, but it's, you realize that, hey, you only have 5,000 seats. It's gonna, it's a different clientele, whatever. So you attack it a completely different way, right? So let's go back to the team in Paso Robles. So you brought one person from Tulare. Who was that person?
Well, I had to, because
Was
when I
it
got
Jackie
over there,
or who was it?
Waldo.
Yeah.
Waldo retired.
Oh, that's
when
right,
Maynard
yeah.
left, he
So who'd
went
you
into
bring
retirement.
over?
My maintenance supervisor.
Okay.
He had retired and went to Oregon.
Okay.
I got over to Paso, and I took Waldo to dinner, breakfast and dinner and breakfast. I took him a new shirt, new jacket, hat. Waldo's a great guy.
Yeah. He was awesome.
Oh, one of the very best.
So many people talk shit about that guy, though.
Oh, that's not
But
fair.
he was
'cause he was
awesome.
the best.
Yeah.
So there's no way he was coming back. He was loyal to Maynard,
Yep.
and he was no way going to come back and help anybody else, even if it was me. And he
Those two-
liked my dad.
Those two guys were gonna die together. You
Yes.
know what I mean? Like if the guns start blazing, they're gonna stand right there and go together.
So I could see that I was striking out, losing.
Yeah.
So I called my maintenance supervisor that was in Tulare, who retired and went to Oregon.
Mm-hmm.
He moved up there and he took his family, and I said, hey, dude, I need you. If I don't have you, this is going to be a tough sled.
Mm-hmm.
I need experience. Please come out of retirement, come help me. And he
And
came.
he did.
So that saved me a little bit. But the first time I met Waldo, the first time I ever met him, you'll love this story. He and his wife ran the concession stand right on the Midway.
Eddie.
Which,
I took it over after she was there.
yeah, well, that wouldn't go nowadays.
Yeah, right.
But anyway, my dad took me in to meet his wife, who is a special lady and a workhorse. My goodness. And it was like 7 o'clock at night, the first night of the fair. And my dad said, I want you to meet one of the best. I mean, he just thought the world over. Besides, she was beautiful, but she just worked her butt off and never came up for air. So I go in there, I meet her, and I look over, and there's the office in the back, and there's a desk there, and there's one of those desks with the hole in the middle, and there's a guy sleeping in the hole on the floor. And I looked down there and I said, Dad. He goes, oh, don't wake him, that's Waldo. He doesn't go home.
Yeah.
He was right there.
Yeah. That's true shit.
And every night when I was there, I'd go in to say hi to Betty, just, hey, how you doing, this, that, and the other. Or she'd give me a cup of coffee, and then I'd say, how's Waldo doing? Oh, he's sleeping right now. Because as soon as the fair ended, I mean, he'd be up and they'd be pushing all those college kids through.
Dude, you talk about
that's dedication. Dedication and loyalty.
Yeah, it was off the chart with those people. But you know, it was an amazing thing, you know, to see that and to actually, you know. Anyways, but those people are few and far between. So,
true.
Okay, let's get back to the team. Paso Robles.
Yes.
You take one guy with you.
Yes.
And you said in Tulare you surrounded yourself with a good team. So in Paso, you must have had a good team.
Yep.
How'd you do it?
To be very candid, it was mostly Maynard's team. I just added a few extras. One of which I hired right out of Cal Poly, Lori King, and she stayed there for 2 years, and then she went to Fresno.
Right.
I had Stacy that I hired out of Fresno, and she was at Tulare.
And then she
went to Fresno.
Okay, so now you say it's most. Now think about that. That was how many years were you after Waldo? They went through.
They went 4 years with Judy.
Well, your dad was there.
So it's 5.
He was only there for a year?
He was there, yeah.
So 5. And then I think Randy was... Did Randy come in before... Just a period of time between you and Judy?
No, Randy didn't want the CEO
No,
job.
I know, but he filled in for somebody that couldn't be there or something. I can't remember what it was. But anyways, okay, so that was 5 years.
Yeah.
So think about the impact Maynard had on his team, and you're still doing it from 5 years later. And that was strictly, correct me if I'm wrong, because they loved that fair.
Absolutely.
Had nothing to do with, you know, yes, they like Waldo. Yes. I mean, not Waldo, Maynard. But really, they love the fair.
Yes.
To this day,
Yes.
they would say the same shit. I know. I still know a few of them.
Joanne
right?
Switzer's still in the livestock.
Yeah. I mean, it's that deep. Okay. So you were able to accomplish some things at Paso with some a good team, right? Okay. Now you go to Fresno. Did you have a good team there?
Not at the beginning, no.
Right.
But we had a tremendous start because Stacy and Lori were there.
They were already there.
Yeah.
Oh, so they had left Paso and went over there.
Yeah. Lori.
Okay. When you say
Lori went from Paso and Stacy went from Tulare.
From Tulare, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so when you say a team, I'm thinking about the other fair managers out there, right? When you say a team, how many people you need on your team to be great, to have a big impact?
Oh, as many as you can get. I don't think.
And you're
I don't think there's a magic number.
No, I know.
You got to have a fantastic deputy assistants. If it's that big a fair, you got to make sure
Let's
you
talk
have
about
great
the Fresno
concessions
fair.
people. You got to have good exhibits
so you got
people.
your concession people.
Livestock
right?
is
livestock
horse
people.
racing.
You got your maintenance crew, right?
Yeah.
So all in all, how many people you think you were directing there in Fresno? 50?
Oh yeah.
25?
50 to 60.
Okay, 50 to 60.
That's
people.
your inner core.
Now, the previous CEO was there.
Yes.
He had, you're saying, so the only people you brought in was,
I didn't
well,
bring
you had
anybody.
Stacy and you had, what was the other guy?
Stacy and Lori.
Lori. And then Was your maintenance guy there, or you adopted another guy? So only those two people that you added, right?
Right. Well, they were there before I got there, but
No, I know, I know.
had contact
but
with
you
them
knew
before.
them, and you knew you could work
Right.
with these people
Absolutely.
and whatever. You had no idea of these other people,
No.
right?
No.
Okay. So I know you made a big impact in Fresno.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Tried.
On now, I don't know about numbers. Maybe you could share that. Was it successful financially? Did you increase the gate?
Oh,
Did
yeah,
you,
absolutely.
So if you went from your time coming in there, how many people more came in the gate? I know from myself as a concessionaire, I feel like there's a lot of more people, but in your opinion?
Well, that's what a lot of people don't understand. That's why the entertainment is so important, I think, to make good decisions there, because really it's we owe it to our concessionaire partners and our exhibitor partners to get as much traffic as we can through those doors. And I don't care if they're coming to watch horse racing or they're coming to watch entertainment or whatever. We got to get the traffic. The best day we ever did at Fresno was 83,000 on a Saturday, and it was humongous.
Mm-hmm.
And I think everybody did pretty well. But no, the attendance grew gradually over the 18 or 19 years that I was there. Grew substantially.
You were there that long?
I was there 18 years.
Damn.
18.
That was a long time.
Yeah.
So you have this team, and you're able to accomplish great things. And then this one, we're not talking about in entertainment, right? The entertainment's not really a driving force. It's there. It's like
supplemental.
Yeah, it's kind of that way, I would say, at most of the fairs, right? Nothing like Mid-State Fair. You go to LA, it's just there,
right?
So, and you didn't have a great team. So how did you accomplish so much in Fresno? And when I say so much, I'll give everybody an idea. Well, you know more than me, but you took that fairgrounds from looking like an average, basically asphalt jungle to something that's amusement park related, right? With a lot of theming. And we had a chance to talk to James yesterday. We went to his new, James with
Monster City.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
We went down to his place in LA, and dude, if you ever get a chance to go see what they're doing down there, like the technology is just off the chart. So, but anyways, you've had so I know you did a lot of theming, but how do you get all this shit done? Right? Like,
it's a lot.
I know. But the reason I bring that up is because nobody else can seem to get it done. Why is that?
Kim Merriman told me years ago, you remember Kim, that used to be head of the Department of Food and Ag and Division of Fairs and Exposition. She always told me, if you're not relevant with your community, you will slowly become a dinosaur. So you better become more relevant with your community. And I've always remembered that. And
so relevant to the community.
Yeah. In other words, they can't just look at the fair as, oh my gosh, they're going to go out there and gouge you for $6 beer. They're going to hit you for $10 funnel cakes, $15 margaritas. The community, in my opinion, needs to look at the fair as, yeah, they have their harvest time, and I'm going to be there to help them get their harvest time. And I love the food, and I love the environment and all this, but they're good for our community. Mm-hmm. They do good things the other 11 months that they're here. Mm-hmm. For example, we did the pint for a pass. Talked to an ice cream outfit up in Fresno and say, hey, if we, every pint of blood that they donate in name of the Fresno Fair, we'll give you passes to the fair. Mm-hmm. So a pint for a pass. And that was huge.
That was huge. Who came up with that idea?
Our staff. We kicked it around. It was like in a room like this, and there's 15 or 20 of the core that you think of and respect. Mm-hmm. Like your PR gals. They're really sharp. Got your sponsorship people there, and then all your department heads, and then we just kept kicking it around and saying, we got to make this happen. But that was huge.
No, okay. So you guys come up with the idea.
Yeah.
But and I struggle with this because I don't know how the inside of a fair works, right? So let's just say somebody says, oh, you know what we should do is pint for a pass. Okay, cool. But who's the one that leads that charge?
Well, I know who can kill it.
Who?
Me.
Right.
And the CEO can either make it or break it right off the bat.
That's what I'm trying to get at. But that's what I'm trying to get at. So you could have 20 good ideas, right?
Yeah.
But if you can't get the shit done as the CEO, as the manager, if you're not excited about it, if you're not able to sell it to the community, if you're not able to wrap your head around it, or it scares you, or you're more worried about your vacation than you are about getting people into the fair, and all these things, right?
Mm-hmm.
You just said, like, yeah, the CEO could either make it or break it. The one guy. This is what I'm trying to get
because
at.
Staff won't go around the CEO and go to the board and say, hey, he poo-pooed this, but we think it's a great idea.
So when you get an idea like that, you have to take it to the board?
Oh, yeah.
And then what? They could say...
And the reason being, every ticket that you give away, the auditors are going to say, oh, well, how much was that? So you've got to validate it.
Okay.
But then we came up with that idea, which was fantastic. And the ice cream people, they were happy because it brought repeat business. And it was just really good. And the community loved it. And we look like heroes. You know, and they've got an equation that 1 pint of blood saves 16 people, or there's an equation. So you multiply that times 20 or 25,000.
Yeah.
And then multiply that over 10 or 12 years that we did it. I mean, that's saving a lot of lives and doing a lot of good for the community. Right. So the community sees that, they feel it, they see it, and some of them tasted it. Then we come up with even a better idea. When the community, when the economy hit rock bottom about in 2008, things kind of really got rocky, and people, were struggling just to make ends meet, and this, that, and the other. We were thinking, how are we going to get our people, with over 28% of them are at poverty or below, how are we going to get them to the fair to enjoy themselves this year? If we can even get them there.
Yeah.
Because once they get there, if they've got food stamps or they've got some government subsidy, they'll bring the cash and they'll spend it, and they'll enjoy themselves, which is better for our partners and for the fair as well. So we came up with, let's have a big county food drive. Bring me 4 cans of food, you get in free.
Yeah, that was big.
So we got together with the Salvation Army. They had the trucks. We had the food organizations that that gave food out to all the free folks. They worked with us with their trucks. But the amount of food that we generated, the tons and tons of food, and how many families we fed from that was unbelievable. And at the same time, got people into the fair to enjoy their fair. That was really good.
Yeah, that's big.
Catfish Falls, right there by the office where we have Catfish Falls. We put fish in there. We bought the fish. Our foundation bought the fish. Kids came in and catch and release. There's so many kids that come into the fair nowadays that are from single families that their dads don't have a chance to even take them fishing.
So where did that idea come from? The catch and release?
From our meetings. But
so, okay.
We do the catch and release. Let me finish.
Yeah.
We do the catch and release. It was a huge success. Had a Polaroid cam in there taking pictures of kids. First time they ever caught a fish. Barbless hooks, so we didn't hurt the fish. And then 2 days after the fair was closed was the greatest day ever. That's when we harvest the fish, take them down to the Poverello house, which we fed 1,100 homeless people a high-protein fish meal.
Nice.
And if you do that, like we've done it for like 12, 15, 16 years, you add all that up, there's thousands and thousands of people that you fed. So then the community looks at you like, well, it is a fair and it is expensive to go, but they're here for the community. They're here to help us and help this community as well, not just take.
Yeah. So I love the ideas, right? But I'm going to ask you again, why is nobody else doing those things? Could be something that spin on their own community or whatever. Why do you suppose that is?
They're just made differently.
Nah.
You know,
But
you think about
You've had to think about this question. You got to go like, why is nobody doing something? I'm talking to CEOs out there. I'm talking to managers. I'm talking to gatekeepers. I'm talking to people sitting around having the ideas. I know the CEO can kill it. That's the one guy. But why is nobody doing it?
They can CEO can kill it, or he can fan the fire.
Right.
And get it going.
Right.
And we did that a lot.
So, do you think it's a leadership problem? Do you think it's a fear problem? Do you think it's, you know, I have this saying that I say to where I say the only reason that this is my opinion. I'm going to tell you what my opinion is. The only reason they are not doing it is because they don't have an idea. The only ideas you have is what is being presented to you by somebody else. And those ideas aren't very good. So how do you cultivate better ideas? So you can't have a good project such as your food drive without the idea first. And I swear we're lacking on good ideas. Now, all ideas aren't good ideas, so we all sit around a table, we think about it. And then, once we have the idea, I'll give you a perfect example. If I came up with something great, well, everything I come up with I think is great, right?
Usually it's pretty good, Roger.
So I think it's great. Then let's say I go to the CEO or the concession manager, and their answer is, no, we don't have the space. And I say, how could you not have space for something amazing? Something unique, something different, something that could be a game changer, something that could add to your bottom line versus what you have now. And I'm going to say 90% of the leadership in the industry is saying a quick no. Not, let me think about it, let me see if I could move somebody. I could solve your problem real quick by making some tough decisions. Like, this guy is just a non-performer, right? Like, and I don't have nothing against the guy. I'm not trying to take anything from the guy. But he's just a non-performer. There's a lot of them out there, right?
Probably.
Yeah. But why are we not making that tough call and going, maybe it could be a little different? Just like you with the entertainment. You had to say, damn, this is a little risky, right?
Yeah.
But I'm gonna make the tough call. And I've always said that about you. There's two things I say. I say, whenever I show up to an event that I know John Alkire's leading, I never worry about it. I know the people are coming.
Thank you.
Because I know you've worked all year to make this shit happen. A couple things you told me that you said with Waldo and you said with other people, and that I maybe people are doing this and maybe they're not, but you're taking these people to lunch. You're spending time with them. You're selling them on yourself, really, is what you're doing, or your idea or whatever, because you know it's important, right? Super important that, it's not about John Alkire. It's about accomplishing the mission and moving the needle and where are we gonna get these fish? Well, first we gotta have the idea of the fish that we're gonna have this catch and release, right? That's the idea.
Right.
So if you took that idea over to Bakersfield or over to the Midwest and you say, hey, I have this idea for the catch and release fish, and we're gonna do this, and within 3 minutes they say, well, we don't have the space. Right? So they have no creativity, no imagination, and I've thought so much about this, and I say It's because it's so easy to keep doing the same thing.
You've hit the nail right on the head there.
You know? And it's like, wait a minute. Our job is to not make it easy. Our job is to be amazing. We're in the entertainment business.
You're making memories.
Yeah,
you should.
Well, that's what it used to be about, you know, through the Western fairs. Honestly, you know what I feel about it now? You said, we're making memories. What I think the new term should be, we have a lot of policies and procedures. That's what we're saying.
It's true.
Jesus Christ, I can't even park my trailer on almost every fairgrounds for an extra few days.
Yeah. You're an idea guy. You're an idea guy. Let me.
The reason we're here is so we can document, and maybe somebody in that Cal Poly management group could kind of maybe think about what we're saying.
Yeah.
And this guy right here, this guy, John Alkire, he's the one guy that makes it happen. And when you're the one guy, you can go from this event to that event. You can develop. You could have done this same shit in the private sector. I wonder why you didn't. You probably could have made a whole lot more money.
A lot more. A lot more.
But you know, there must have been something that was driving you for all that. But you know, it's just the one person that can put the deals together, that can allow the ideas to happen and to support the ideas. And even if your team is not that style, let's say they're more logical thinking other than me and you. In other words, like, let's say, you know, they're more bookkeeper type, structured people, not so. And but that one guy can go, you know what, don't be so harsh on this deal. Here's why. We need all these people in this community, right, buying into this whole deal. And just trust me on that. I know it might not make sense to you, right? That, you know, I know we have to lock the gates at 11 o'clock or 3 o'clock or whatever o'clock. But, you know, I've known this guy for a long time. He needs to take care of this stuff. Let him take care of his animals or whatever he's got going on, right?
Right.
But Jesus Christ, you know, it's becoming so rigid. Now, it might look like I'm just bitching about it, right? But I don't think so.
No.
What I'm saying is, our communities are not buying into our bullshit because we're not doing a very good job at it. You, my friend, are the best at it.
Oh, thank you.
You massage things into place in a great way. You build relationships. I've seen it for years, and you know, you have sponsorships. You know, over there in the Bay Area, can you imagine those guys who are in the Bay Area with all that technology? No partnerships with any of those people. I never can figure it out, right? So, okay, they're not in the livestock, but they're in a whole different world, right?
Let's talk about COVID for a second.
Go ahead.
Because I think one of the better ideas that we came up, our team, was when COVID hit us and everybody was closing. And what irritated me, a lot of people were closing because they knew if they closed, they'd get a check. And I told my staff, I said, no, we're not closing. We've got to survive. So we kicked different things around. We said, let's do a drive-through fair. Get our concession partners who aren't making squat this year. A lot of them are bellied up. And let's get we'll do a trek all the way through the fairgrounds. And I think on that first year, we generated 1.8 million gross.
Yeah, it's amazing.
With no fare. But the majority of everybody else went because they got the money. And then COVID, I mean, because of the feds and the state and the county and all that, fairs that were, you know, okay financially and everything are rolling in money now. They're rich for not performing.
Yeah.
Didn't have to. We didn't.
You know, I had the same mentality, and I tell everybody, like, I'm a cowboy, right? And I know you're a cowboy with this, like, I'm just gonna, I'm a warrior, right? Like, and I know you are too. Like, we're gonna fight it out, right? Like, we're not gonna, and so I just don't know, man. I get so confused, and I don't want to sound like it's, like, because I'm not tired of it. I love the industry. I love all the things that happens. One of the best things about the industry is the creativity. We can do anything we want, kind of, in the realm of things. But yeah, this I just wanted to hear, how you deal with putting these teams together, just accomplishing big things, just getting the job done, bringing the community together. Just making it happen.
This last fair, one of the head officials in Sacramento brought some of the team members of Cal Expo down.
Mm-hmm.
And they came over and asked me, they said, could you take 15, 20 minutes, half hour, and tell these people how we make Cal Expo like the Fresno Fair?
Mm-hmm.
That was probably one of the best compliments that I could have ever received on our team effort of what we've been trying to do. But they wanted us to expound on some ideas of what and how we got to where we did and use them at the state fair. To me, that was a big pat on the back. We enjoyed that.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah.
But here's the problem. They're missing the guy. The one guy.
Well,
because if they had the guy, they wouldn't be asking the question.
that's true.
Think about it. I mean, I know it's a great compliment, don't get me wrong. So when I go back to, and I just thought of this when you said that, one of the biggest problem is having the idea, right? It's having the idea. First, we got to have the idea.
Right.
Then we got to have the one guy that's going to push it, right? So you should be an idea guy. You know what I'm saying? You should, I don't know if there's a way for people to reach out to you, for you to help them, but you do that well.
Thank you.
And I could see totally people benefiting on meeting with you once a month and going, hey, and then if you could be honest, and you're probably a lot more smoother than I am, but honest and say, well, you're not really doing this very well. Maybe you should try this avenue. Yeah. I think the world needs you, and I know you think you're retired and wrapping shit up, but I still think you got a lot in you.
Well, it's amazing. I had an attorney from Fresno call me yesterday, and they're bringing a new pirate ship from Daniels Woodland to Fresno in a different location out by the zoo.
Oh, really?
And they said, hey, would you be interested in making sure that gets in there right?
Not only making it, but getting it in there
right. We're going
right,
to talk to him.
Getting it promoted. Yeah. Getting it, how can we sell that? You said it's the zoo?
Yeah, it's close to the zoo, right next to it.
And the city's doing that?
It's a 501c3 nonprofit.
Mm. But you know what I'm saying, right? Like, so, there'll be a day where you and I aren't around, but for right now, I think we gotta go a little harder, right? And, and I know you're retired. I don't know what that means, but I'll probably never retire. But
it's just a word. Trust me.
Yeah,
I think I'm busier now than I was
probably.
Before.
But yeah. So, but anyways, I appreciate your time. Anything you want to ask me? I know you got a bunch of notes here and shit, and I didn't really tell you what we were going to talk about, but I really wanted to know about the teams you develop and how you get shit done, because that's really the key.
Well, I appreciate the opportunity to talk to you. I've always thought the world of you, respected what you're able to accomplish. And when I was in Paso, all the great people that I had a chance to work and meet with there, I mean, that's where I met you.
Yeah.
And that's where I met your mom. And that's where I met your sister, Carlos. And a lot of good things come out of the fair industry. And I would sure recommend young people that are looking at possibly the fair industry to, I think you got to look at the fair as and my dad always told me this, if you enjoy what you do every day, you'll never work a day in your life. And I can say that wholeheartedly, that's kind of what drove me. The private sector never did that for me.
Yeah.
Now, there's more money.
I say that about real estate. Like, I could probably make more money in real estate.
Yeah.
I just don't do nothing.
Because you're good at that.
But it's so flat to me.
Yeah. So, if you can enjoy what you do, and it isn't like going to work every day, and you get up every day and you're excited about going to work, which I was for 40 years, then you ought to pursue it. You ought to think about it. But there are basic things that I think that you need to do, whether you're a board of director or you're a new CEO or something. You've got to know your community. You've got to know the weaknesses and the strengths of your fair, and that's where most people won't. They don't want to own up to that. They think that as long as I get my parking passes and I get my concert tickets and I get my free this and free that, I'm good. Mm-hmm. And you can't look at it that way. You got to say, man, where can we make this thing better? Mm-hmm. And then attack that. And I don't see that. I see a lot of competition between the fairs. There always has been. I mean, remember the competition between Maynard and Bob Dunlap?
Well,
I mean, that was...
Yeah.
I mean, Bakersfield and...
But that was two guys competing.
Oh, I know.
You know what I mean?
But they were serious.
Yeah.
Serious. And both of them were excellent. I think
but
Bob
think
was
about
great.
How much that pushed him. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like, I'm not going to let this guy outdo me or whatever, but they're both creating good things.
I've had the opportunity to sit in on interviews every now and then. People say, hey, I got this position. Would you come and sit on the interviews and give me your opinion? And I've seen it time and time and time again, Roger. They didn't hire the right person.
Really?
Because they were afraid that person might take their job.
Really?
Yeah. I've seen it over and over. And I really think that answers maybe one of your other questions of why some people don't want to shoot the risk out there for the reward. They don't want to put their job in
jeopardy. Yeah, they're
jeopardy.
afraid to... Well, I say that even about my managers. I'm like, why are you not delivering this tough message? And I wonder, do they think that there's going to be some repercussions from me to them?
Sure. You got to do a better job of making them feel more confident.
Yeah. Well, I try to, but at the beginning, once you get to know me, you'll know that, there's no, it just has to be what it is, right? But I do wonder about that, and I do wonder, especially because I just kind of deal with fair managers and on this level, but managers I don't usually deal with besides the ones that work for me. I'm talking about other companies, so. But anyways, again, I appreciate your time. I don't even know how long we've been talking, but...
Thanks for the invite.
Anything else?
No.
We're going to send this out to the world, and hopefully we can make a little impact. Somebody to think. We just need one. We just need one. We just need that one guy. Yeah. One girl. There's a lot of good females out there doing... The fact, most of my leaders are females now.
So are mine.
Yeah.
If you want a good man for the job, hire a woman, they say.
Yeah.
I think there's a lot of truth to that because they get more detailed and they get more serious. That they're wanting to prove themselves.
Something.
Whatever it is.
We
never talked about big fair, small fair. That would be maybe for another time because I really think there's a lot of discussion area there because, the smaller fairs, they have very little staff, so everybody's, working out a classification basically just to get the fair through the gauntlet. And then you got the other fairs that are so big.
Here a little bit.
Yeah. Then you got the fairs that are so big that staff gets lost.
Yeah, and it's so funny because think about it. If you're the community, do you care if it's a big fair or a little fair? If you're a fair goer, do you care if it's a big fair or a little fair?
You just want it to be successful.
You just want to feel great about it. Mm-hmm. Because there's some really good small fairs, like community-based. Grass Valley is one of them.
That's beautiful up there.
Beautiful, and they just got this whole thing. Like, they're from another planet when it comes to like fair. Nobody even talks about them. Yeah. Nobody, but they're doing some. They've got a really good support deal over there.
Yeah, and that's what it takes.
Real family type situation, so that works for them. right, might not work in Stockton. You get what I'm saying? So
That's one of the problems is a lot of people think what works at one fair will work at another,
right.
and that's not true.
Well, I learned that when I tried taking my barbecue to Miami. And I'm like, oh shit, there's a whole different flavors over here.
Yeah.
Just because I'm doing well in California doesn't mean I could take that same product to another part of the country.
Yeah, very true.
And be successful about it, right?
Very true.
So it's kind of the same way with the fairs. So I don't necessarily, I know in your world maybe big fair versus small fair means something, but only on a pay scale, really. Don't you think?
Just add the zeros. It's the same thing.
No, I know, yeah, but I'm saying, well, is there really a difference in a big fair and a small fair?
My dad would always say the only difference between my fair and your fair is the zeros.
Yeah, that's
you
it.
Get
so
more people, more money.
So if I'm a leader, right? If I'm the one guy to get shit done, and I'm doing it up in, Logandale, Nevada, which nobody's ever heard of, but I'm bringing the community together. I'm getting the community excited about it. The businesses want to be a part of it. The local people want to come to it. I can have the same impact there as I can at the LA County Fair. Yeah. It's just I got a bigger not problem, but bigger audience, I guess. Mm-hmm. But I'm telling you, that one guy, you could go to Logandale, Nevada, and be more successful than the guy at the LA County Fair. I'm talking with what a fair should be successful at, as in the community loving it. People can't wait for the fair to come to town. It's educational. The kids are bringing the animals, which never freaking happens again, which I think is a big mistake for the fair industry. Why? I don't know why that is. I mean, Paso still has a lot of animals. I don't know why we got away from that, But, you did a thing remember that thing you did with the mutton busting?
Oh, yeah.
And
Tommy G.
Yeah, he passed away.
Yes, he did.
Yeah.
Now, there was a promoter.
Yeah. But, you did that. You put that together, and then you ended up, they got a ticket to Vegas or some shit like that.
Oh, yeah.
But then again, that's the idea. So that idea had to come from somewhere. You don't have that idea, you can never expand on it. Now, I believe we need to be cultivating ideas constantly, right? Just I don't care where I'm getting them,
Yeah.
And that's why it's very important for me to get out and about. I'm in Visalia today, I might pick up some ideas here. I don't know. Yesterday we went down to James's place. I had no idea what I was seeing. Man, the stuff they're doing down there, just spurred some ideas. And I don't know if that's just me or what, but I believe we constantly have to be cultivating that.
And not all deals are going to be a success. The more you throw against the
10%
wall,
of them we're good.
The more you throw against the wall, the bigger the percentage is that one of them is going to stick.
Yeah, absolutely.
And you just have to be not afraid to throw them against the wall, and then the one that sticks, grab it and say, let's go.
Yep. And what's funny that I do is I forget about the losers so fast. Like, I don't know if that's just my DNA or I practice at it, but the failures, I just, done. I just focus on the winners. Yeah.
Next.
And, I'm like, oh, well, could have been a financial loss because, that shit can hurt, right? It can, it can hurt in theory, but really it can be a driver too to like, shit, I ain't gonna let that happen again.
But I think, again, I think you hit the nail on the head that most CEOs are afraid to experience a little failure. If they throw one against the wall and they say, we got to go with this one, then it fails, then it makes you look bad.
So how do we fix that?
So you just don't do anything.
How do we
just
fix
keep things status quo?
Yeah. Which, no, you're completely right. Which is why we see the same shit year after year. But how do we fix that? In an individual go like, dude, we're going to try it all. And so, but how do we get it to where it's okay? How do we get the culture in our companies to go, it's okay to fail?
That's hard. But I think you've got to get directors and you got to get staff and CEOs to try to get the thinkers in there to help motivate some, stimuli, some thinking out of the box. Most people are afraid to go that way.
I listen to Howard Stern a lot, and I think he's unbelievable. I don't know if you know, but super intelligent guy, super, right? Like a whole nother level. And I know a lot of people don't think his content is great, but whatever it is, he's super intelligent.
He's got the shock value.
And he says, I heard him say something recently. He says, you know what? That idea was so stupid, but it's kind of my fault. Because when everybody starts working here, I tell them I want to hear every idea you have, everyone. I don't care if it's good, bad, or whatever. Everyone, you just tell me, and then I'll sift through it.
Yeah.
I thought that was pretty interesting. In other words, don't be afraid to share anything. And back to the ideas. If you're hesitant on, well, that was stupid, but and it's okay if it's stupid, right? It's just an idea. It's just a brief moment in time, really. But I don't know how we cultivate that's okay to fail.
You know Dan Jacobs?
Name sounds
Antelope
familiar.
Valley?
Oh, yeah.
Good guy.
Yeah.
I went to his fair. I judged the livestock one time, and I was walking out. He was walking with me, and I said, what was your best program this year? And this has been 15, 20 years.
Mm-hmm.
He said, the best program I did, we got members of the community to give scholarships out to kids that were like 3.8 to 4.0, right in there. In other words, the kids that were really in the upper grade. I said, what'd you give me? Oh, we gave him $500, we gave him $100, we gave him this and that. We had a big barbecue for him. I said, yeah, that's a hell of an idea. So on the way home, I called my girls and I said, hey, I just heard of a great idea, but I think we need to make it bigger. And they go, what do you mean? And I said, well, let's go 4.0. It's got to be, you got to have a grade point average of 4.0 or better. We worked with all the city and county schools to get all their lists, invited everybody on the weakest night that we had, on a Monday night, filled the grandstand, which is like, 8,000. And we had like 30 gifts. Gas cards, $500 gas cards, bicycles, flat screens, laptops, really nice gifts. We give out about 30 gifts. And if you got a 4.0, you got a ticket, and you sent your ticket in. That's the only way you got it in. Put it in the tumbler. So we picked out 30 names, and these kids are in their different schools, and they got their colors, and they're screaming and yelling back and forth, having their competitions. The last ticket drawn is for a brand new car.
Really?
Toyota.
Damn.
And we did that.
I wish I would have had my
that.
name in there.
Yeah, you wish you had 4.0.
Right.
But that was one of the best programs that we put together, and it was from an idea from another fair.
What I'm saying.
But we just made it better.
Well, because you had an idea and you're the one guy.
Yeah.
Give that idea to somebody else, he'll probably do the same or not even do it. He'll go, oh, that was nice.
But I'm telling you, the community,
love that shit, right?
oh, the backlash
The
came.
parents and
They said, how wonderful, my kid has a chance. We incentivize him to keep his grades up, so we can get invited to this event and maybe get a chance to win. And half of the cars that we gave away over the years that we did it were like kids that really needed, like farm workers. Kids. I mean, it was amazing.
But it's life-changing.
Life-changing.
For even the kid that comes in second, it's life-changing because he's never going to forget it.
So after we gave all these awards out, then we even took it to another level. We thought, let's give cash awards out too. Not everybody can win a car, so we went like $2,500, $3,500.
That's a lot of damn money.
So we ended up last year, I heard the total was right at $100,000.
Wow.
So those kids came up, they met their sponsor on stage, got to shake the hand, and then, like I said, the last ticket was for the car.
So awesome.
Oh.
From one idea,
and the community loved it.
From one idea.
Yeah.
Just from one guy, you having a conversation, and he just says, this is what I did, and you're like, oh, you put your spin on it, or whatever you did, and look at the ripple effect of that whole shit, right? It still needs the one guy, though. And I'm telling you, I see it all the time. The one guy leaves, turns to shit.
And you can't be afraid to ask the question. Like, I respect Dan, so I said, Dan, what was your best promotion this year?
Mm-hmm.
This is the best one I had. I thought, all the way home, man, my mind was just, I thought, we can make that better. We can do more. Get the schools involved. Get the parents involved. Bring them in on a weeknight.
You know what I bet Dan would have loved? If you would have shared what, like, hey, I heard what you said, and this is a way I'm going to take it to another level.
Yeah, I think I shared that with him.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying?
I think I shared that with him.
I bet he would appreciate that,
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm telling you, the moral of the story is you got to have ideas.
True.
And be open to everything. I don't give a shit.
There's not a bad
Show
idea.
it to me.
There's not a bad idea.
Show it to me. Let me think.
Yeah.
I might not be able to fit it in. It might not work here. Just like my ideas I got yesterday. I might use those 5 years from now. But I always got to be looking for the idea. And then I got to be the one guy that can make it happen. That's the way I look at it. It's like, I'm so fluid at this point. I'm so fluid that the way I operate, I feel like I could change anything at any time because I can lead it. So I'm the one guy in my situation, right?
Absolutely.
And I know you're the one guy in your operation and where you've been and come from. And I wish there was more of the guys that, could just put it out there, right? Just put it out there.
Yeah.
I'm not apologizing. I'm not, I'm really not even asking. I know you got to ask to your board of directors and all that shit, but you can't only ask. You got to be really good at selling it, right? You got to sell yourself. The board of directors got to like you. Just like for me, I did a deal with somebody and I said, one of the big challenges for the food concession guy is the event has to like you. If they don't like you, if you're an asshole or abrasive or you smell or, your shirt's wrinkled, it could be anything, right? If they don't like you, but it's that way in anything, job interviews, or that's just that way in life. So you got to really work on that thing of people liking you, right?
Absolutely.
So when you take the job in Paso, in reality, the first 3 months, you're selling yourself. You're selling yourself on your team and the bookkeeper that's been there 50 years and all that shit.
But what really helped me, again, to be very candid and straightforward, what really helped me is graduating from Cal Poly and going to school there and having ties already that I went back and rekindled those fires when I was there going to school.
Dude, don't sell yourself short.
No, I'm
that
telling
helped
you.
you in this
It
area.
helps.
It helped, but you could have been the same man in Kentucky, Indiana, Iowa, right?
Yeah.
Because that's you.
Yeah.
So I know that helped you. Yeah. Oh, you knew the area. It was familiar. You had some relationships. I know that. But I also know that you're an amazing man
Thank you.
could have done that in China. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But so all of those things help. Like, it's much easier for me in Paso Robles too, but I know I could do the same shit in Kansas because I've done it.
Because you've done it.
Yeah, I go there and I'm like, man, I gotta hire these people. I gotta make these relationships. I gotta, whatever the case may be. And so, all of that shit helps, but it doesn't really make the man. You're running your own path, and I would have faith in you anywhere, anytime, any place. Shit, you could be the captain of the ship and people are gonna follow you on the ocean, right? So that ain't got shit to do with going to Cal Poly or anything else, right? And that's my point about leadership. We need that shit. We need those people and there's some young people out there that are gonna have that, but it's amazing how it helps to know from somebody else. You can shorten that curve.
Yes.
That learning curve.
I had that privilege.
Yeah, right? Like, where would you have been without Maynard? Okay,
without Maynard and my dad, I probably wouldn't be sitting here.
Right. Well, you would still be a great guy, but maybe it took you 10 years longer. You know what I'm saying? Because you didn't have your dad, the cleaning of the restrooms and all that shit, right?
Yeah.
So, still a great guy. Same thing. What would I, in the event business, if I never got to see Maynard Potter act the way he acted and show me the stuff he showed you, and, I'm watching from a distance, I'm scared of the guy. I'm 19, 20, right? I'm not approaching him. I'm like, yes, sir. That's about it.
He came over to Tulare one year.
Mm-hmm.
My third year that I did business with him, he came over and he got there about 4 o'clock in the afternoon, had an iced tea, walked around, looked at the chairs, how we laid out the concert venue. I asked him how could I do it better, and he gave me a couple of suggestions. And I said, "Are you over here on business and everything?" He said, "No, I'm turning around and going back." He said, "I just want to come over and see all the conversations we have. I just want to see what you're doing."
For himself.
And I was so honored that he just came over and just wanted to see the finished product.
Yeah.
That's that awesome. His shares were a part of, but he was one in a million.
Yeah.
Visionary.
Yep.
Visionary and not afraid to.
We need more of those. We need some younger people, some people that can step up and not be afraid to be fired, and so many rules and regulations and all of that kind of stuff. And God, man, we're regulating the creativity right out of our souls, my opinion.
Yeah, and it's not like that you and I wouldn't talk to any board or any CEO or any staff at any level to help out. Whether you're there as a concessionaire or not. I mean, I know you that well.
Yeah, no.
You would help a competitor out if they asked.
All day, every day.
Yeah.
In fact, I don't even think I have competitors. I mean, this is the way I run my head. Never do I mean, I know they're my competitors. I'm not an idiot. But never do I focus on that. I mean, if a guy needs something, I'm going to help him. Period. I just figured there's plenty for everybody. But yeah, it would be interesting to say, oh, there's a manager out there and he's struggling with his board, and you'd be a good guy to call and go, hey, I'm doing a lot of free stuff right now, because that's another problem.
Yes.
To where it's like not everybody, a lot of people are like, well, why am I going to do that? I'm not getting paid. Or how much am I going to make from that? Or, but back to the events, do you really need to charge me for a week to park my trailer there when I'm part of your group?
Yeah. I'm
part of your team. I mean, it's kind of a shitty way to.
I thought I was a part of your team.
Yeah, well, dude, like, it's like
step over $1 to pick up a dime.
Yeah, like I would do anything for you. You call me up and you say, "Hey, we need this." I'm like, "Shit, I gotta make this happen."
Yeah.
But then you charge me 75 cents to come in the gate. I don't get it.
It's really not a real partnership.
No. But on a bigger picture than that, I mean, I've been bitching about that for 100 years, but is if everybody is focused so much on only the money, we're never going to get to greatness. The money will always be there if you're in greatness. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
And I know money's a big part of it, but sometimes, dude, I've seen you give away a lot of stuff, and I don't mean material stuff. I mean your time. Let me ask you, you said somebody wanted you to go to Sacramento, right?
Yeah.
Who paid for that?
Didn't charge anybody anything.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. You just, you ain't going, oh, well, can you cover my gas?
I didn't go.
Oh, you didn't?
No.
No, I'm talking about, you said you went somewhere. That somebody asked you to go do something. I can't remember what it was. And I was wondering, I'm like, I wonder if you got paid for that or what.
The answer is no.
Yeah, I've seen you do that a lot, right? Mm-hmm. When you take people to lunch, right? Are you going, oh, God, I put in my 8 hours, and you ain't worried about that shit, right?
No.
And it doesn't even enter your head.
No.
you sit down with the Hearst family. So, are you working, or are you John trying to be great? You're John trying to be
John.
great.
At
But
5 in the morning, when he wants you out at his office, because that's when he starts watching the stock market from
Yeah.
Mackey's, and he says, "Be out there for coffee." You know, you're out there.
But
you're out
I
there for
know
the
it's
Mid-State
part
Fair,
of your
but-
work, but you're out there to be great, right?
Yeah.
I'm
And
in
he
a
helped me get there.
great partnership, right? Now, if you would have said, "Oh man, like
Can't make it till 9.
can't make it, I got to do this." I mean, are you really trying to be great? If everything is about how much is it, how much am I making, how much am I spending, if everything is about that, I don't see how we could ever be great.
I don't know if you've noticed this or not, but I have over the last 40 years, that the people that you receive the most support for, I mean money,
Yeah.
big money, ask for the least. The people that give you $1,500, $2,500 expect the world.
Well,
And they
I
just
don't know
bug you
because
all the
nobody's
time.
ever given me anything, but
Well,
I'm
I'm
talking
just
about
talking
money.
about sponsorships.
Yeah, I don't deal with those people, but I can just imagine,
Yeah. George Hearst would ask me for 2 rodeo tickets.
And he probably felt bad at asking for that. He's probably
And
like,
he averaged there 3 years in a row of like 600 plus.
But dude, back to what I think is a big problem: ideas, and then the one guy, right?
Yeah.
I think that's it. But the other problem is, in my mind, it's like we're so worried about money, and it's part of it's the media problem, and everybody's talking about, oh, this guy made $1 million and this, and it's like it sounds such bullshit. And if we can't release ourselves from, maybe we just need to do some great shit every once in a while. None of us are starving. Well, nobody that I know.
True.
Nobody in your circle, and but if we can't get past that, man, that's another big thing.
But you've got a big heart, and you've raised, and you're worth multi-millions,
Well, I don't know about all
which
that,
I'm
man.
really proud of you.
But
And I'm just telling you that you have a big heart, and most people don't.
well, I appreciate that.
Your mother would be proud.
Hopefully.
She would have been proud.
Hopefully she's proud today.
Always
I
good,
appreciate it, man.
Always good.